Welcome back. This is a quick update on creating a content management system from scratch. In the last video, I showed the logs module, and in prior videos, I've showed the routing module. And I know I mentioned that I was going to copy the routing module to use as the basis of both the users module and the roles module. And I've done that, and I've made a little bit of progress on the users module, but it's not quite ready to demo. So I'm going to demo the roles module. I'm going to talk about what I've done, and I'm going to talk about what's left, and that'll be it. So we can see here on the roles module that I have the search/filtering option. So I have a description here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to search for that 1, 2, 3, 4. We see that it filtered it down. I can also search for like new role 1, for example. So there we see it's filtered it down. And I can also search for administrator here. So that's searching and filtering. And then for adding, the only logic I have in place right now is that if the trimmed name value would equal administrator, so if it's administrator or administrator with a bunch of spaces, it's not going to allow that. So if I try to add that, then it says that's invalid. But as you can see here, you can precede the word administrator with something, or you can say administrator space and then something. So these are allowed. I do still need to add some validation. So for example, I need to add validation that I can't submit 2 roles with the same name. Now technically this is allowed because each role has an ID and everything is tied in by ID, so the name is kind of equally superfluous as description. But I think for the sanity of the users and administrators, that I should have the name also be unique. So I will add that validation in the future. Another piece of validation is I need to ensure that at least the system defined role of administrator cannot be deleted, and likely that it also cannot be edited. But I don't have that validation in the back end, but I'll add it. It'll be pretty quick. So I've demonstrated searching and filtering and adding, so now let's talk about editing and deleting. I initially anticipated having some sort of pop-up or modal or browser confirmation, but I thought that would be too jarring, so I went for something a little more subtle. So when I click on this button, which is currently orange, it changes to red and the wording changes. So if I click this same element a second time, then I've just deleted that element. Now if I click off, it's going to clear that choice so that I have to select the same element twice in a row. And same if I choose a different delete button. Now one thing that I need to add in is if you go to edit something, I need to clear that deletion just so that when you do delete something, you are 100% absolutely certain, because you will have clicked on the same thing twice. So I need to make sure that when you click on an edit button, oh, and right there I accidentally clicked off over here in the white space, and that's why the confirmed deletion went away. But I need to ensure that when you click on an edit or submit edits button, that it clears out the delete confirmation. And that'll again be super easy, probably take less time than it took for me to talk about it, but that'll be a future video. And then similarly, edit, when you click on it, changes from green to blue and the wording changes. And then the actual content of the table also changes, putting in input fields. And I also spent probably way too much time tweaking things down to the subpixel to make sure that the height of the table rows is not modified by the state of the table. So whether you are using buttons, clicking buttons, whether this is an input field or not an input field, or if it's not even an editable table like this one, the row height is precisely exactly the same. Now, one thing that might tweak that is if we're viewing at a very small width, but I'm not worrying too much about that. And by the way, I'm really only worrying about widths down to about this point, where that top menu at the very top of the page, where that starts to collapse. That's where I figure, well, now we're getting too tight for back-end administration. Now, obviously, we're going to have mobile styling for content, but I don't anticipate using a mobile device for real administration, and if you were to do so, you could view the page in so-called desktop mode at a higher resolution mode. Now, another thing I'll mention is the intention is that you'll be editing and submitting one record at a time. So even though there are edit buttons here, let's say that I go to edit the 1, 2, 3, 4 description to add 5, 6, 7, 8, but then I click over here, it's kind of giving you a hint by getting rid of the 5, 6, 7, 8 that if you were to submit this, it would just be for that one row. But if you do go back here, it keeps a memory of what you were doing. But again, so if I were to go edit this duplicate to be duplicate 5, 6, 7, 8, so I put 5, 6, 7, 8 on the end of the description of both of these, but each time I step off, the 5, 6, 7, 8 on the other one goes away. So like if I were to submit this duplicate 5, 6, 7, 8, then 1, 2, 3, 4 will not have 5, 6, 7, 8 at the end. So I've submitted that, the page has been redrawn, it's gone to the server and back. So I'll refresh the page a couple times, not that I have to, but just for demonstration to show that this 5, 6, 7, 8 was actually appended to the end. And if I were to go edit this one, the value is back to its original 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have the 5, 6, 7, 8, but we could then add that in if we choose to, and then submit it. And there we go. Now it's actually submitted. So that's a demonstration of searching, filtering, adding, editing, and deleting roles. So all that's really left is the association between roles and users. And I'm anticipating maybe a third button. And I'm thinking for now that it'll probably add a field set somewhere on the page. But I haven't completely decided how the UI is going to work for managing membership of a specific role. But I am anticipating that you'll be able to manage the user role association from both the roles module and also from the users module. So if you have a user here, and again, I can't demo this quite yet in this video, but let's say I had a user, there would probably be a button somewhere that says manage roles or something like that. But two ways to get to the same thing. So that's what I've done. And by the end of the next video, I'm going to add some validation and checks to the roles module. I'll get the users module to the same state as the roles, and then hopefully also implement the user role association. And that will allow us to then just move on to these last 4 modules of pages, modules, content, and media. But yeah, goal for next video, finish out roles, users, and the association between the two. Thanks for watching.